Welcome back to NASM CPT exam prep. This is Chapter 18 of 20, the final lesson in basic and applied sciences and nutritional concepts. Today's lesson is supplementation. We'll cover common supplement categories and the same scope of practice line drawn around them. Let's get into it. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to do 4 things. First, name common supplement categories and their general purpose. Second, explain why supplements are regulated differently than medications. Third, identify what's inside versus outside a trainer's supplement scope of practice. And fourth, respond appropriately to a client asking whether they should take a specific supplement. Let's build these one at a time. Let's look at the common categories. Protein supplements. These support the protein needs you covered in Lesson 17's macronutrient breakdown. Vitamins and minerals. These address the micronutrient roles introduced back in Lesson 17. Performance supplements. Marketed to support training, recovery, or energy. Claims vary widely in evidence quality here. Notice how these categories map directly onto the macro and micronutrient framework you already covered in Lesson 17. Here's why this matters. Medications require pre-market approval for safety and efficacy. Supplements are not regulated the same way before hitting the shelf. For medications, the manufacturer must prove claims. For supplements, the manufacturer is not required to prove claims the same way. Medications have consistent, tightly controlled dosing. Supplement quality and dosing consistency can vary by brand or product. This regulatory gap is really the entire reason. Trainers need to be careful here. Unlike a prescription, a supplement label's claims are not vetted the same way. That's the foundation for the scope of practice point coming next. Here's the same boundary, one more time. Inside scope. General, publicly available education on supplement categories, explaining what a category is generally used for. Outside scope. Recommending specific brands, products, or doses. Advising on supplement use alongside medications. This is the same refer, don't diagnose boundary you've now seen in Lesson 6, Lesson 16, and Lesson 17. By now, this is actually the 4th time this exact scope of practice pattern has appeared. Medical referral in Lesson 6, posture and pain referral in Lesson 16, nutrition referral in Lesson 17, and now supplements. It's one principle applied across 4 contexts. That's exactly how the NASM exam tests it. Here's the most important point in this lesson. Supplements aren't regulated like medications, and trainers aren't licensed to advise on drug interactions. Recommending a specific product or dose, especially to a client on medication, crosses out of scope and into real liability territory. I want to be direct about this. This isn't just an exam technicality. It's a genuine professional liability issue. A trainer recommending a specific supplement to a client on medication could contribute to a harmful interaction they are not trained to evaluate. Let's check your understanding. Question: why are supplements regulated differently than medications? Take a second and think it through. The correct answer is, supplements don't require the same pre-market proof of safety or efficacy. Here's why. Unlike medications, supplements are not required to prove safety and efficacy claims through the same pre-market approval process. One more question. A client on prescription medication asks which specific supplement brand and dose to take. What should a trainer do? Pause and think back to the scope of practice boundary. The correct answer is, refer the client to a physician or pharmacist. Here's why. Advising on supplement use alongside medication is outside a trainer's scope and should be referred to a qualified medical professional. Let's bring it all together. The common categories are protein, vitamins and minerals, and performance supplements, mapping onto the macro and micronutrient framework from Lesson 17. Supplements aren't regulated pre-market the way medications are, so label claims aren't vetted the same way. Inside scope is general category education. Outside scope is specific product or dose recommendations, especially alongside medication. And this is the fourth lesson to apply the same refer, don't diagnose scope of practice principle. Here's where that leaves us in the course overall. Assessment, exercise technique, and program design are all complete, and client relations and professional development is the final domain remaining. Great work getting through Lesson 18. Next up is Lesson 19, Lifestyle Modification and Behavioral Coaching. We'll cover the stages of change model, motivational interviewing basics, or ORs, and SMART goal setting. See you there.